An incredible end to an incredible career. Hi, welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on youtube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Subscribe right now. Leaving the comments in the comment section. Like and share the video as well. Right, WrestleMania 33. Say what you want about the event. It's been one long hell event to watch, but it's had some very big talking points in it, and of course, none more important than the end of the show. Of course, Roman Reigns going over the Undertaker in the main event, but more importantly so, after Roman Reigns leaves the ringside and leaves the complete area, we see the replays, and we then see the Undertaker, the lights out, and we can see him in the jacket, the hat, as if he was how he would enter the ring. We see him initially take the gloves off, which I believe has been done previously. We then saw the jacket come off, and last but certainly the hat, all left in the centre in the ring. Very symbolic of the fact that the Undertaker is going to be no more from here, clearly retiring after this match at this year's WrestleMania, after 25 WrestleMania matches. And of course, there's no better way to leave the wrestling business than to put somebody else over. It's always been the WWE way, and perhaps arguably people would say they'd prefer it to be someone else, but Roman Reigns perhaps is the right guy to do it too. He's perhaps the company guy that they want to push to the top, and now this gives someone momentum when they beat Roman Reigns next as well, because this is the guy that's not just beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, perhaps retired the Undertaker as well. Maybe it would have been too obvious with a career stipulation on the line. I kind of like it the way it was dealt with. We see the Undertaker break character, leaving the ring as well, kissing his wife Michelle McCool at ringside before going up the ramp. The whole thing was at least had to be about 10 minutes long, but you couldn't take your eyes off the screen. You couldn't look anywhere else. It was an incredible moment. I've been watching Undertaker since day one of watching wrestling. In fact, my first event was WrestleMania 8, and it was the Undertaker was in the second match, defeating Jake Roberts, Jake the Snake, of course. And it's always been, wrestling's always involved the Undertaker in some form or fashion going through until now. So be very interesting. It feels very empty moment knowing the Undertaker is no longer going to be in the ring anymore after this, but certainly a special moment, and definitely worth watching WrestleMania for that alone, really, because for me it is the biggest talking point. For me, really big Undertaker fan, and very thankful for all the entertaining years of watching him. So yeah, thank you, Taker. I'm sure we should be hashtagging all over Twitter tonight. Quickly going over the whole event to give you a review. I've already given my opinions of Neville beating Austin Aries. You can go back and check that video out now. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal as well. I've given my feelings on that before, so we'll go on from the Intercontinental title match, which was on the pre-show. Disrespectful to the championship, but I guess for time reasons, another match had to be put there. Dean Ambrose going over cleanly as well, which for me was not a great booking move, but at the same time, it just goes to show Dean Ambrose has fallen a lot. Baron Corbin, sad to see that he's not a winner on this card, but maybe this feud will continue down the line. More anything, I would like to have seen the Intercontinental title on the main show, but anyway, I digress. The first match of the actual WrestleMania show, we see Shane McMahon trying to kill himself as always against AJ Styles. Surprising, a really good match, and a really good choice for opening contest. And I thought it was actually cleverly worked out. AJ Styles picking up the victory, and I really enjoyed the way this match played itself out. AJ eventually winning with the phenomenal forearm. We see Kevin Owens win the United States Championship from Chris Jericho in the second match with a powerbomb on the outside into the apron. Again, another solid match. There were two good solid matches to really open up the show, which I think put you in a good mood going forward into WrestleMania. Bayley winning the four-way elimination match with the Raw Women's Championship, defeating Charlotte at the end. For me, this match didn't really fulfill its expectations, which is a bit sad, but nonetheless, it'd be interesting to see what this is going forward, because it felt kind of obvious this, so now I'm intrigued to see where it goes next. I mean, maybe, we could get a Sasha Banks heel turn, maybe tomorrow night on Raw. We'll have to wait and see what happens from there. The fourth match on the card, I believe, was the ladder match, and for me, perhaps the greatest moment of WrestleMania this year, bar the Undertaker's retiring, would be the Hardys' return. Introduces the fourth team in the ladder match, and the fans went absolutely mental, and I'm not going to lie, I completely marked out as a fan. I thought it was an amazing moment. The only thing with the ladder match, it seemed to go quite quickly. the whole thing felt quite a blur looking back at it, but some really good moments still within that match. I particularly like the Cesaro swing that seemed to go on forever, with Sheamus as well doing the beats at the same time on the outside ring apron. That was kind of a cool moment. And of course the finish as well with Jeff Hardy jumping off a really insane high ladder, going on top of Cesaro and Sheamus, and particularly on Cesaro breaking the ladder as Matt Hardy collected the tag team championship. So they're proving they aren't definitely the best team in space and time, holding Impact Tag Team Championships, the ROH and the Raw Championships all in the same calendar year. Certainly is something special. It makes you wonder maybe when a draft comes along, will they lose those belts and then go on SmackDown and go for those belts, and maybe at some point even drop to NXT. It'd be interesting how that's going to play out as the Hardys are on WWE TV this time round, but we'll have to wait and see. Next was John Cena and Nikki Bella beating The Miz and Maurice. A standard match once again. It felt a bit flat, I suppose, this match really. It didn't seem really to fulfil everything it could do in the match, but it got the objectives over what it needed to do. Nikki and John winning the match pretty much with both the finishers and pinning, although the official pinfall was on Maurice. And yeah, we got to see John Cena propose to Nikki Bella after the match, which I did predict would happen. But it was a nice moment. I thought it was a kind of a heart-warming sort of moment on WrestleMania. I'm not going to knock it, which I'm sure some people will. But yeah, I kind of liked it, and fair play and congratulations to them both. We'll move on then next. Trying to think what the following match from that was. I'll just continue on anyway. I believe it was Seth Rollins and Triple H actually would have been the following match for this, the unsanctioned match. A long match, but I think again was perhaps one of the matches of the night here. I think that was really great storytelling, to be perfectly honest. I like the stipulation and how weapons were utilised into it. Of course, the table spot. I mean, Triple H being knocked by Seth Rollins and then falls into Stephanie, who was on the ring apron, who then falls through a table. It was a great spot and a great way to make Triple H really mad, turn around and go and lose to a pedigree, be beat by his own move. And now we can move on from that now, and hopefully we'll see Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe going forward after this. It feels that maybe now we've got a closed chapter there, and it's a really nice thing because you didn't want to wait another 6 months or another year to play that storyline out again. So really good that Seth Rollins got to come back and do that. Following this, we had the concert of Pitbull, Flo Rida, Lunch Money Lewis, and one with Marley, Stephen Marley, I think it was. That was a waste of 8 minutes. And it seemed to make the crowd kind of flat by the time we got to the WWE Championship match with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, which for me was really cleverly played out. It was a very sort of psychological match where we had these powers and the ring sort of like canvas was changing to like worms and cockroaches and stuff like this. And really, it was freaky the first time, and I was kind of digging it. I thought it was good because it freaked Randy Orton out, and Bray Wyatt looked really strong until he got hit with an RKO and lost the match, which for me, it just goes to show if you can't win even with these superpowers, Bray Wyatt unfortunately is never going to make it in WWE in the top tier. And it's so sad because they were just pushing him as well. I'm hoping somewhere down the line now they're going to actually give Wyatt the belt back and make him strong again, but it kind of feels that after that it killed a lot of credibility in that match. It didn't serve the purpose, in my opinion, of what it could have done. Moving on next, the Universal Championship match, Brock Lesnar winning in the way and fashion that we thought he would against Goldberg, kicking out. It seemed to be a repetition of spears, jackhammers, suplexes, and a final F5. Eventually, suplexing hit 10 times on Goldberg, and we got the F5 and we got the victory for Lesnar, which, to be fair, one or two of them spears were brilliant, and to be fair, Goldberg did kind of sell some of them German suplexes pretty well. So all in all, I'm kind of satisfied with it because it wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, but maybe it was what we could have expected out of Goldberg, really, for the limitations that were probably there. Forgive me, by the way, because I am exhausted. I'm really tired. It is about 5:30 in the morning where I am right now recording this. So, as you can imagine, it's very late for where I am in the world. But anyway, moving on to the Women's Championship match. We'll just do it very quick here. The six-pack challenge. Very rushed once again, but Naomi picking up a WrestleMania moment, winning the Women's Championship in her hometown, making Alexa Bliss tap out. Seemed to be a few botches here and there. Becky Lynch's hair was wild. Mickey James doing the best Tatanka impression coming down to the ring. A couple of bizarre moments here, but Naomi getting the Duke and getting the victory, and that was pretty cool. As I say, with the main event itself, it seemed a bit flat in places, but you could see the story they were trying to build with the Undertaker, that his body was giving up on him, even though he just kept kicking out of spear after spear after spear. Roman Reigns almost didn't want to put him down. It kind of almost was a similarity to Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. I don't think the message was conveyed as well. I think that the reason for that is more the fact that it was the main event of the show, and the show has been for so long. I mean, we've been watching wrestling for 7 hours at this point. I think a lot of people were tired in the crowd, and I think that's why it perhaps didn't convey as well as they wanted it to. I think if this was like a 3-hour show, I think it would have conveyed really, really well. But of course, when people realised at the end of the 3 count that this was the end of The Undertaker, a lot of the fans then showed their appreciation and really seemed to come to life again with a thank you Taker chance. Personally for me, like I said, the ending of the show, just to go back to that as we did at the start of the video, was an incredible finish to WrestleMania. Really almost made up for how kind of, I don't want to say flat the main event was, but how good perhaps it could have had from the reaction from the crowd. I mean, there were some good spots in the main event. I mean, the spear through the table was pretty good, and we see obviously Roman Reigns kicking out the tombstone. Jim Ross calling the action as well always is a nice touch. But for me, I do think that as a main event, it's not the best main event in WrestleMania history, but at the same time, it got the message it wanted to do, and the way that the show finished was outstanding. Overall, the show, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, I think is probably a fair reflection. For the length of the show, it didn't seem as long as WrestleMania did last year, which I think is a good sign, despite how long the show was. A lot of objective messages were put there, a lot of nice things happen in WrestleMania, particularly Hardy's returning, the proposal, Naomi getting her hometown glory, a couple of really odd decisions, like Randy Orton winning for him was a real odd one. The women's matches perhaps didn't live up to the expectation maybe of what we could have expected, and of course the Intercontinental title being put on the pre-show, and the lack of Finn Balor, Samoa Joe and Braun Strowman on the main show was a bit of a sad note as well, and no Sami Zayn as well, but you can't have it all, I guess. But it'd be interesting to see what happens on Raw tomorrow. I'm very excited for what's going to happen there. I reckon Ty Dillinger is going to come onto the main show tomorrow. I'm hoping Nakamura will be saved till SmackDown. It seems though that he waved goodbye to the NXT crowd at TakeOver, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And possibly my favourite match as well from the entire WrestleMania weekend, particularly from TakeOver, would have been the 3-team elimination match, The Authors of Pain, the Revival and DIY. Incredible match. If you haven't seen it, check that out now, because it's just phenomenal. But that's enough for me anyway. It's time for me to go to bed now. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. This is SCW, the wrestling channel, here on YouTube.com, giving my review for WrestleMania 33.